Beverly asks, if you had the option of filling a room with many pieces, if you had the option of filling a room with many priceless antiques or one good piece, which would you choose? Well, I would always choose one good piece because as soon as I didn't even get through the first sentence, filling a room with many anything is bad. You can see in a museum masterpieces all crowded together. And the thing to remember when you go to a museum, which you have to use your imagination, is that all those masterpieces were never, ever, ever, ever all together in one room. Each masterpiece sometimes had its own church or was so incredibly valuable and important that it had its own room. It's only when rich people started to accumulate paintings, the only time you might have seen several Van Goghs in one room might have been if you'd visited Van Gogh's studio. And I could guarantee you right now that that studio was covered with, rags covered with oil paint. And apparently he was very smelly, which is interesting because there was a woman who lived to be 120 something who knew him. But that's not important. He was a genius. But the only time you would have seen that many Van Goghs together would be if you'd been lucky enough to visit his extremely smelly studio. But now when you see too many Van Goghs together with fancy lighting and all, that's not the way it's supposed to be, because each one of those was made for a specific buyer. And when you see religious art, each masterpiece was the centerpiece of one great cathedral. Maybe there were some others inside chapels, but when you go to a museum, and it's great that they've saved them, but you see 5 great altarpieces in one room. It is not the way it's supposed to be. Greek temples had one beautiful statue of a god or goddess that was the centerpiece of the whole thing. And when you go to a museum and you see 30 of them, that's not the way it was. So many of anything is not the way to do a room, because a great work of art is always meant to pull all the focus. Even a beautiful olive tree or a beautiful orange tree or something is enough in a little cloister, in a little courtyard. A lot of anything, no, I would never do that. Because as soon as you take one exquisite thing and give it a lot of space, then you keep studying it and wondering about it. If there's 20 things, I would rather go to somebody's house and see one little dish of the most wonderful little chocolate cookies and know that that was their favorite special recipe than go to a bakery and go, oh my gosh. And then there's a woman in front of you saying, could I try that? Just one is fine. One focuses you, and that's a beautiful thing. Like one candle in the room, I think that's very beautiful. But that's just me. I'm very boring. I don't like lots of stuff. No. I don't like a lot of stuff. Unless it's a lot of grains of sand on a beach. Now that's nice. You get like billions of grains of sand, but that's different.